Imagine you walk into a small town, and in that small town you notice a bookstore. You walk into the store and browse its aisles. You pause and you pick up, say, David McCullough's biography on John Adams. But after mulling it over, you decide you don't have time for books. You leave the store, and from there you walk down Main Street, and this time you notice a video store. You walk in, and one of the first things you see is a poster advertising John Adams, HBO's adaptation of David McCullough's biography. Coincidence? Maybe in the real world, but when you surf the web, seeing advertisements for products that match your personal interests is rarely a coincidence. It's called behavioral targeting, and when it's done from site to site, it's achieved through tracking. Advertisers see it as an effective tool, but some people worry that it's a violation of their privacy. At the center of this debate is what's known as the third-party cookie, a small text file that stores information on your hard drive. That's what allows for this sort of tracking to take place. So how does it work? Well, to understand third-party cookies, we need to understand cookies. To understand cookies, we talk to the cookie creator himself. This is Lou Montulli, probably best known for his early work on the World Wide Web. Before dropping out of college, Lou wrote Lynx, one of the first web browsers, and as one of the founding engineers of Netscape, remember them? He developed what today is an integral part of our everyday experience of the web, the now ubiquitous cookie. Lou tells us why we even needed a cookie in the first place.
So in 1994, we were working on an e-commerce solution for the web. What we wanted to allow was a shopping cart so that users could select products and put them into this shopping cart and select further products and then go through a checkout process. At that time, the web didn't have any concept of memory.
Without memory, if customers placed an item in their cart, it would disappear the moment they visited another site. So to solve this shopping cart problem, Lou created the cookie. First, let's identify the main players. To start, there's you and your computer, and on your computer you have your browser, Firefox, IE, Chrome, take your pick. Next, you have the website, which delivers the pages that you visit, Amazon, eBay, Google, etc. When you go to a site for the first time, it wants to remember you, so it assigns you an ID number that's contained in a little text file called a cookie. Then, whenever the server sends a web page back to you, it includes the cookie with it. That ID number lets the site remember the pages you visit, the products you store in your shopping cart, and whatever information you've provided, such as your username, your real name, or your billing address. In your computer, the cookie is linked to the name of the site, so that every time you visit it, the site will recognize you. Once the cookie is in place, you can add a toaster to your cart without it ever disappearing. Unless you delete the cookie, the toaster will stay in your cart even if you visit another page or another site. It's like having great customer service at a cafe where the barista remembers your name and your drink. Most people know that a site has access to your browsing history within its own site. It's not surprising when Amazon.com sees that you've looked at David McCullough's John Adams and then recommends another book in the same genre. And a lot of people find it helpful. But it's a little different when you visit a separate site altogether that seems to know about your tastes too. Even in the early stages of cookie creation, Lou was concerned about privacy issues.
A fair amount of effort was given to try to keep cookies from being shared between various websites that are not related.
Although limits were built into the cookie at the start, trackers, which are often ad networks, have found ways to work around those limitations, allowing them to follow your movements from site to site. They do this using the third-party cookie. Advertisers also request that websites install cookies on your computer. These are known as third-party cookies because they piggyback off the original site you visited. For example, when you visit a site that has a banner ad, let's call it site number 1, your browser is communicating with both site number 1 and the advertiser. The advertiser, like the original site you visited, is also assigning your computer an ID number using the third-party cookie. This is what sets the stage for behavioral targeting. So how does the third-party cookie allow for behavioral targeting? Let's say you visit another site, site number 2, and that site also has a relationship with the same advertiser. When you arrive at the site, the advertiser will check your cookie file and look for its cookie. If the cookie is there, the advertiser will remember you and show you a related ad. It'll also add information saying you visited site number 2. Ad networks are companies that do this kind of tracking on hundreds or thousands of sites they do business with. The bigger the ad network, the greater its potential to track your online habits across the web and develop a profile of you. Then, it can show you ads for products you are more likely to buy. A lot of people concerned with privacy probably already know to delete their cookies, but trackers have figured out ways to work around this. Other tracking methods are less noticeable and harder to remove. Some, such as flash cookies, can respawn cookies you've deleted without your even knowing it. As the tracking business becomes a growing part of the online advertising ecosystem, privacy advocates are pushing for more regulation. They want greater transparency and better options for consumers to control what's known about them, so that when you browse the online bookstore and look at that copy of John Adams, you can decide who knows about it. For the Wall Street Journal, this is Christina Sui.